Welcome back to yet another playoff edition of Bulldog Breakdown. Overtime. We're 4 weeks now
into the fourth. Yeah.
Into the second season of football, which not many people get to do. Every week it gets fewer and fewer, and so definitely taking the privilege of being here. Thank you guys for being with us. Bulldogs are headed to the VHSL State Semifinals after a dominant 56-23 victory over Turner Ashby. A great team that came in here. They had a great season. But Bulldogs walk away with the Region 3C championship. Teams continuing to make history. I told you earlier, I don't believe in any kind of superstition, but we'll just talk about the week that was and the week that is to come. And then I think it's okay, though, to say the state title is within reach. It is out there for the guys to go and get. But the truth is, we say it every week, and it is always true, the stakes have never been higher than this week.
That's right.
In this episode, we're going to break down just a little bit the win over Turner Ashby. I've asked our Bulldog audience to send in some questions for Ask Coach Rocco. And then we're going to look at an intense matchup against William Byrd, who had an unbelievable road here through last week. So let's get started by, first of all, we do it every week, but let's go check out the Maddox power play of the game and how you can get tickets to Saturday's.
Right, Saturday at 2.
Saturday's game at 2 o'clock, right across the road at Bulldog Stadium.
It's time for the Maddox Power Play of the Week, brought to you by Maddox Air, Electrical and Plumbing, keeping your home running strong. Let's check out this week's big-time play. Maddox, let's get started. As the first half of the Class 3C championship game wound down, the Bulldogs were in control with a 28-7 lead. But the Knights were driving, determined to cut the lead in half before halftime and shift the momentum in their favor. On a critical play from the Bulldog 35-yard line, the Knights quarterback dropped back, targeting their all-star wideout Micah Matthews deep downfield. Jaden Cowart, playing deep in coverage, quickly recognized where the ball was heading. With perfect timing and precision, Cowart broke on the ball just as it reached its target, swatting it away and denying the Knights the big play they desperately needed. This clutch defensive moment stalled the Knights' drive and ensured the Bulldogs entered halftime up 28-7. Plays like Cowart's helped seal the deal as the Bulldogs powered their way to a dominant 56-23 victory to claim the Class 3C crown. That was your Maddox Power Play of the Week, brought to you by Maddox Air, Electrical and Plumbing. When it comes to your home, Maddox says, let's get started.
This Saturday at 2 p.m., Bulldog Stadium will host something more than a game. It will host a moment we will never get back. These are our seniors, young men who have poured their hearts into this field, who have fought with grit, passion, and determination under these Friday night lights and Saturday afternoon skies. This is their house. This is their legacy. And this Saturday, it's their last chance to defend it. Every tackle, every pass, every yard they've gained has been for this. They've fought for Bulldog Nation. This Saturday, feel the crackle in the air, the energy that only playoff football brings. Hear the cheers echo off the bleachers as our boys give everything they've got one last time on their home turf. This isn't just another game. It's the state semifinal. It's the final chapter for these seniors at Bulldog Stadium. Saturday is your opportunity to show up, to cheer, to stand shoulder to shoulder with a community that loves this team. You don't want to miss this. You don't want to look back and say, I wish I was there. Be there. Be loud. Be part of the moment. Get your tickets now on GoFan.
All right, back. We now know how to get our tickets for Saturday's game. We got to say it 100 times. Saturday, 2 o'clock. I'd love to say it's going to be a balmy 65 degrees, but
it's going to be nice.
It's going to be nice.
48 and sunny at 2:00, 3:00, and then it starts getting a little chillier. But I mean, it'll be a good football weather.
It's great football weather. Yeah. Put on a coat and come out at midday. It's gonna be wonderful. And Coach, I'm gonna say this here. I think it's really important for our Bulldog audience to not only recognize this, but to share this. Our seniors, this incredible group of seniors that we have, this is their last game in Bulldog Stadium. And so guys like Justice, or Jelly, it's the first time in a long time I've called him Justice, Easton, Gideon, James. I mean, we've got, 15 guys that this will be their last game at home. Now, if we are able to make the state championship, it's going to be up at Liberty, but here in our home. So come out, cheer these guys on, and watch them. Hey, Coach, let's jump back to just talk a little bit about Turner Ashby. They came here and came in with high hopes, but almost immediately, Gideon hits the gas and gets to the end zone. I don't want to say did you foresee it, but was there intention to try to you always want to get a score, but you know what I'm saying? Is there a thing of, hey, let's try and take control of this immediately so there's no question?
Yeah, well, we won the toss and wanted the football, so we wanted to, go into overdrive right out of the gate.
Right.
And then, anytime Gideon touches the ball, if it's blocked properly, and they came out in the defense that we thought they would on that given play, and it was blocked properly, and Gideon got out and down the sideline and took it to the house. So everything just played out just perfectly. They ended up turning around and coming right back down the field and scored as well. So I mean, we were in an early dogfight there, but our guys just kept coming, and it was really turned out to be one of those games where they couldn't stop us, and we could stop them more times than they could stop us, and so we were satisfied with the effort against a really good team. They're number one for them, Micah
Matthews.
Yeah, he ended up signing with Virginia Tech yesterday on signing day, so
wow.
he'll be playing at Tech. Then they had a couple other high-level players that will be playing college ball next year as well, because they had a lot of good seniors as well.
Yeah. So when you make that choice to receive, I feel like a lot of times nowadays people defer to the second half. They want to maybe go on defense and secure having the ball first thing in the second half. You choosing to go on offense, is that your statement of challenging your guys? This is your opportunity to take advantage of,
Well, we always have the philosophy that we want to put the heat on them right away, and we want to go and try to score right on the first series. And the only thing that kind of takes us out of that philosophy is if you're playing a wind game, which that was actually that Friday night. It was a windy night, and we feel like we can kick off and we can just put it through the end zone and back them up in their own territory right out of the gate. But other than that, we usually want to have the ball right away.
Yeah, it seemed like special teams always has a play in the game. There's several in there. We talked about this early to midseason last year, but we haven't really talked about it this year. When you watch Sam get up to kick off, and Ryan did this last year. There are times where they are trying to put that all the way in the back of the end zone, but then there's times where he's kicking it 10 yards downfield or 30 yards downfield, or what is that? Because even sometimes when we're far ahead, it's not that it was onside kicks, but there's sometimes it's just these little bloopers. What's that? Typically, any good high school team or any football team for that matter, you want to use your kickoff return team as a weapon. So it's an offensive play. So you're going to we put Gideon back there, and if they want to kick the ball off to him, that's another ball carry for Gideon. So we know
the talented players that are in our league and then on the teams that we play, and we don't want to kick it to them, you know? And so if we feel like we can't kick it over their heads and put it in the end zone, and sometimes based on the finesse kicking that we do, they start cheating up a little bit, well, then that's when we'll go over their heads, you know, and that sometimes can lead to tackling them down close to their goal line, you know, and field position is such a big part. But for the most part, we're a finesse kicking team, and we're trying to, drop it here. Like imagine a golfer that's a 9 wedge or a sand wedge, trying to drop it there and drop it there. We try to look for openings or maybe weaknesses, and we'll try to drop it there and then cover from there.
That's unique.
Yeah.
So that's neat. Is that something that in the moment you're watching how they come out, where they're lined up, and then you're...
Yeah, so Coach Preble, our special teams coach, he's got a couple signals and things like that will call a certain kick as they go out onto the field. But if they kind of alter their alignment, we can make a signal or whatever that gets them to direct it somewhere else.
That's pretty cool. Hey, I told you guys last year, those of you who've been following us, that there's every piece of this game, every piece of the kickoff is not just something that's a routine so that we can switch possessions.
Right.
It's something you got to watch, because we've had several times where there's been possession change on the kickoff where a ball's been fumbled, where it's rolled through somebody's because of an excellently performed kickoff. That's pretty cool. Game saw contributions from a lot of players. Our team seems to be well conditioned. How much of a toll does a long season like this take on the body of a 16, 17, 18-year-old guy?
We might have talked about this last year, and if we have, forgive me, but if I were to stand up on a soapbox and give my editorial comment about a 15-game or 15-week season, I mean, I would do everything in my power to take a couple weeks off of it. I don't believe high school football teams should be playing for 15 weeks. Now, granted, it's only 2. There's only 2 left, or 4 left right now, and will be 2 next week. So it doesn't affect the totality of high school football, but still it makes it really, really difficult. I think you could easily take 1 week off of the regular season and just play 9 games, and then take 1 week off of the postseason and only have 4 weeks of postseason instead of 5. So that would take 2 weeks off, and then literally you're playing your state championship game on Thanksgiving Day weekend. So if UVA and Virginia Tech play on Friday, which they have before, you play the state finals on Saturday. If they play if Virginia and Virginia Tech play on Saturday like they did this year, then you play the high school state championship on Friday. So I think it makes, in the state of Virginia, a great weekend, especially with Virginia Tech playing that day as well. And, it's a grind. 15 weeks is a grind. And, we only have 30-some kids on our varsity team, and to get all of them to the finish line, and, coaches, we're wearing out, as well. It's a long grind, but we're in it to win it, and we're going to keep fighting. But I'd be lying to say if I didn't wish it was a little shorter.
Right. So our team, the Bulldogs, have been in the playoffs several years now.
For the last 5 years, we've been in the state semifinals at least 4 times. 4 of the last 5 years.
How does, as much as it is a grind, how much does that impact the experience and the skill of the younger players as they grow? Because they get 4 to 5 extra weeks of not only practice but game experience.
I just had an interview with the local news reporter, and he asked that very same question.
Oh wow!
And we chose to keep up when the regular season was over. JV finished. I think there was 5 or 6. We asked to stay with us. And so we have a varsity roster of like 34, 35, and it took us up to maybe 40. So we've got 40 guys now, and 6 of them were JV guys. And then a handful of them are 10th graders, young guys anyway. But if you think about it, like you said, we're in the 4th week of additional practice right now. So you've got 9th and 10th graders that played a 10-game season, so they got all of their experience out of that. Now they're practicing right along with varsity kids. So it's like the colleges that have bowl practices, and they get that, all the other teams that don't make it to bowl games, they're home and they're watching on TV.
Right.
But the bowl teams that are in the bowl games, they're practicing another month, and that just helps. And so if you do it year in and year out and year in and year out, your program is getting exponential more practice time than everybody else that's sitting at home that don't make the playoffs.
Man. Hey, one of those guys that obviously has benefited from all of those weeks of practice over the last several years. We're going to bring him in for the sideline spotlight. Coach Jaden Cowart has been a huge part of the Bulldogs' success. Offensively, but man, he made some really good defensive plays this week.
He had his best game of the year. We gave him the Player of the Week this past week against Turner Ashby, and it was right on time. We needed performance from him. He is. I know you're going to talk to him here in a minute, but he is the most cerebral football player on our team. He really is. I mean, he gets. From a defensive perspective, he's our quarterback. He gets everybody else lined up. He studies the other team really well. He knows their tendencies. He can call things out before they happen because he knows he's done such a good study on them. And just a great kid. One of our great Christian leaders on our team as well. So I mean, week in and week out, man, we parade some quality guys in front of you and for you to interview. I mean, Jaden's one of our tops.
With that, let's go talk to Jaden Cowart. Well, Bulldog fans, this guy is no stranger to you, Jaden Cowart. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
We are in the state semifinals. Are you excited?
I'm crazy.
What are you more excited about, the state semifinals or to be out of the cold air practicing in this warm? Go.
State Semifinals. Come on. I gotta pick State Semifinals.
It's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Don't care. We were just talking about how pre-game it's like, oh man, it's cold.
Oh yeah, you walk out from the locker room and you hit the cold wind hits you, you're like, ooh, and you get.
But then when that whistle goes and Sam runs towards that ball to kick it,
it's all out. You forget that it's the weather's even there. Like it doesn't even matter.
Well, you got player of the game, got to experience that.
Yeah.
What is that like in the locker room when you get in there and you guys still break the rock?
Yeah, we break it.
What is that like to be chosen, be the guy that's chosen and get to hit that rock?
I think it's a really cool moment, especially for a lot of guys that we've had a lot of different guys break the rock this year, and being able to just take the sledgehammer that we have and just slam it down the rock. I mean, it's a cool experience for sure.
It's pretty epic type thing. Man, there's wind blowing on the outside. I don't know if you guys can hear, but the wind is pounding. Ominous for this coming up. Hey, let's talk about Turner Ashby. Let's talk about the game that you got to be player of the week. You and I were talking off camera about that. There's a lot of plays that we could choose, but I agree with you. I think that the play that really kind of symbolized not only your play that game, but really the play of the Bulldogs is that one right before halftime. Draw that up for us. What you were seeing in that play. We'll throw it up on the screen for them to watch. What are you seeing? Who are you going against? And Turner Ashby's driving down to maybe try and gain back some momentum. What are you seeing, and how did that play turn out?
Yeah, for sure. So I just know that it was half is coming. Second quarter is ending. They're near the halftime. And I know they're trying to drive down the field. They're on our side of the field, and so they were doing a lot of let's just get some yards and let's get back. And they're doing a lot of just like quick huddle things. They're not even worried about getting huddled. And then we call our defense on this play. And so I'm lined up here, and I can really tell how the tackles are lined up like it was a pass. And so I saw that and I was able to read that. And so the ball got hiked, and then I start reading, my keys, going through my progression and all that. And I read that it's passed, and I keep my back pedal going. And they had an outstanding player, number 1, Micah Matthews. He's a really, really good receiver. And so I knew the ball was going to him, so I'm sitting here and I see him break. I see the QB's eyes switch right to him, so I go after, the ball's thrown. I was able to get my hand up in front of him and knock the ball in.
So when I watched you, I had a vantage point where I watched you, and there was a moment which I said, I think Jaden's going to try and intercept this ball.
Yeah.
But you made a commitment. I think there was a moment where you said, I'm just going to knock this thing down, because you hit that hard.
Yeah. So I just broke on the ball, and the ball was thrown. I thought it was a little bit more left to his outside of him, where it was easier for him to catch. And so, and truthfully, it's coming down to half, and they're driving our side. I was just trying to stop momentum. At the end of the day, I would love a pick. I would love an interception. At the end of the day, if you stop their movement, like they can't move. They throw this deep pass and it's broken up. I mean, they're all having to walk back into their huddle. It's just breaking their minds.
So you play on offense as well. Tell me, like, playing both defense and offense, when you do that, what does that do to an offense when they've got a good play? Because he had a good shot. It was a good pass.
Yeah.
But to have one of your best options broken up like this, what does that do to an offense?
I mean, it devastates you. I mean, like, that's your best guy, that's your go-to receiver. That's he's relied on. I mean, they've been in games where they're having to throw this dude, and he's making these catches and doing what he's having to do to help him win the game. And then when he can't do that, when he's not able to do what he usually does, it breaks an offense.
Yeah.
It's just that's your guy. He's not able to catch the ball. He's struggling. The balls are getting intercepted. Jelly had a pick. We had some knockdown balls. That just breaks the offense, especially in the pass game.
So now we're several weeks into the playoffs. The actual regular season is several games to go.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's like to be in a playoff game versus a regular season game. You hear it a lot. The playoff culture is a lot different.
Yeah.
And why do you think it's so different?
It's definitely different, just in the aspect of, if you lose this game, it's over. Like, there is no like, during the season, you play a game, you lose, and you're, okay, next week, let's go to the next week. But there is no next week. There might not be a next week. If you don't win this game, you're done. Your season's over. And a lot of these seniors that I'm close with, Gideon and Easton, all these guys, this is their last year. So I'm truthfully just playing for them to have another week and to win the state championship and playing for God. It is a big difference between season and playoff, just because this could be your last game. You go into these games, this could be the last one.
You said playing for God. I've been asking some of the guys this year when we do this, how faith impacts the way that you play football. Does it have an impact on you?
Absolutely. Just first of all, just sportsmanship. How we are to the other team. There's no need, there's plays where we're making big hits and we're our hands back down on them, trying to help them back up.
It's just the sportsmanship aspect, and then just being able to know that you are going out there to play for God and to honor God and glorify God. It just brings a bigger meaning to why you're playing football, and not just that I'm going out there to play football.
Oh, that's awesome. Last thing, I won't spend a lot of time on this. You had a really unique opportunity last year to I guess it was kind of spring or something. When did you film? You were in a music video.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys were, but you were kind of the main character in a music video by Glenn Shelton.
Yeah.
He wrote a song and performed that song, and then came and asked the Bulldogs to be kind of the central team in that. What was that experience like for you?
I thought it was really, really cool. The people that were making the video and doing that, they were super, super cool people, and they were great to able to help me, and because I'm not an actor. I've never been an actor. I don't know. So they were able to help me in that whole aspect of what to do, and so. But I thought it was a really, really cool experience, and for him, I'm glad I was just able to help him for whatever he needed.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, man, such a privilege to watch you play. Excited for the coming week against William Byrd. They're going to be coming into town, and definitely keen on you trying to get that ball past you.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Any other things you want to tell Bulldog Nation before we head out?
Just that one more game until a state championship.
One more game till the state championship. Jaden Cowart, privilege. All right, Coach, back from Sideline Spotlight, just like you said, Jaden talked about his faith, talked about his team, and sitting and listening to him even recount that play against Matthews where he knocks that ball down. Just the things that pre-snap that he's thinking about being ready. Right. That's the kind of guy you need. Is they know how to be in place.
The best thing about it, he's back another year.
He's back another year. I loved it in talking to him. I know you had to go and do your interviews and things like that. But in talking to him, he has a great hope for playing for these seniors that are leaving. Like that's part of his. I want to say it's part of a burden that he feels. Do you feel like a lot of the younger guys feel that way as well?
I think so. I do. And I think, everybody in our program realizes the magnitude and the impact that these 15 guys, and there's one or two seniors that are kind of new to the program. So, there's a nucleus of 10 or so that have been rock solid in this program for 4 years now, and everybody wants to see them go out, leaving a legacy that I don't know anybody.
It'd be hard to ever match.
Ever match.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. This is a game that you just should not miss because we get to cheer these guys on one more time in this stadium before hopefully the opportunity to do that up at Liberty. Got a couple questions for you, Coach. They're good questions, but we do something a little different. First one, football related, came in. What's the most important skill a high school football player should develop to succeed in high pressure playoff games?
That's good. I think, it's probably a skill that you can't just develop on your own. It's like you can't go into the driveway and shoot baskets and, okay, we're 3 seconds left, 2, 1, shoot. It's kind of all, simulating a situation, but in my opinion, you kind of need some outside pressures. You need teammates around you that are counting on you and you're being counted on. You need your coaches that are holding your feet to the fire and executing in the manner that you're going to have to execute, maybe even turning the heat up on you in practice so that on Friday night or Saturday, whenever the playoff game is happening, it's not the first time that you're feeling the actual pressure, Right. So I think the ability to function in pressure situations is more of a team skill in developing than it is somebody can just go out in the backyard and develop it.
Yeah, good, noted. How do you handle halftime adjustments when the game plan just isn't working as expected?
Yeah, that's hard. If the game plan is not working, there's something that the other team is doing to, knock you off the rails a little bit. So identifying what it is that they're doing first and being able to then compartmentalize that this is what they're doing and what we're doing isn't working, thus we're going to now change based on what we now know they're doing. And a lot of times, we've talked about our stretch play that we run, and that's kind of the fundamental run play in our offense. But if somebody is going to now try to take away the outside perimeter and whatever they're setting extra support players out there or they're slanting to it or whatever, and then we realize that and the alignment that they're implementing, we then could maybe run a play that looks like we're trying to stretch, but it's going to hit more up inside, So I think just understanding what it is they're trying to do to us, and then we've got a big enough, expansive enough playbook that we have things that we can counter once we truly understand what it is they're doing to us.
And all this, of course, within 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that makes it difficult. But we have some really good seasoned coaches that, in a matter of 10 minutes or so, we can figure out what it is we want to do, get the team up on the board, get it instructed to them. And then once you get out on the field, you got a basic adjustments that you've done on the board, but we can continue to make some adjustments in how we play call and formation, the offensive plays. And so, yeah, it's an ongoing chess match.
Which is a huge testament to our guys, too, to the athletes, to be able to have a game plan going in and then to be able to adjust in the middle of dogfights with these guys.
Yeah, we don't run just, dive right, dive left kind of stuff, and our guys, they handle a lot of football mentally. And, honestly, unlike any high school kids I've ever seen before, they grasp it.
Let's talk about the team a little bit.
Yeah.
We talked about Jaden being a cerebral guy. I'm curious. It might be hard to say who's the biggest motivator, but who are your motivators, and maybe who is the biggest motivator on the team, and how do they bring energy to the group?
First name that comes to mind is Ryan Sisney. Ryan is always talking, and he's the little energizer bunny, creating energy, trying to pull other guys along. When things aren't going well, he's trying to pick them up. So I would say him. Easton Ware has become a good vocal leader as well. Unfortunately, both of them seniors that, in the future, we're going to have to kind of retool that leadership group. But those two I would say are top dogs.
That's fair. From your perspective, what does this team do? What do these guys do to bond off the field during?
A lot of that is done. What we just hear talk in the locker room, because it's they're going out and eating wings, they're going to the mall, they're double dating, although not a whole lot of that's happening on this team right now. And just hanging out to go over to each other's houses and hang out and watch football games and stuff like that.
How important do you think it is for the team to like each other?
Absolutely. They got to love each other. Maybe not always like each other, but they got to love each other.
Right.
And these guys do. It's a fundamental element of great teams that they have a desire to want each other to be successful, and they deeply care about one another. Yeah.
All right, before we get out of here, let's talk about William Byrd and what fans can expect. What a way for them to get in. When we ended our game against Turner Ashby, we came in the middle, and their game hadn't quite yet concluded, but Lord Botetourt is winning at that point by 4 points, and the half is closing. It's almost done. Yeah. And by the time that we all get in our cars to go home, William Byrd has won in triple overtime. For me, what an exhausting, exhilarating thing for a team to go through. How does that impact a team moving into the next one?
I hope they shot all their energy and emotion in that game. I don't know. They really are a team right now of destiny. They've won 6 in a row. They're a very talented team. The quarterback is a great drop-back quarterback. They're a coach's son, so he knows the game, and a lot of good athletes on the team. And it's going to be a challenge, and they're hungry. I can tell they're hungry.
What could fans? What type of a team is this? What kind of a offense are they going to be looking at? Are they throwing it? Or
they're throwing it more than anybody we've played this year. Okay. They have a more expansive passing game than anybody we've played. So we're going to have to be able to play pass defense. We got to be able to get after the quarterback. And like I said, their quarterback is a savvy coach's son, and he does a great job of keeping his eyes downfield and looking, finding open receivers. But they got a slippery little tailback as well that we've got to be able to keep corralled. So it's they do a little bit of everything, and that's what makes them so good.
So when you got a team that is going to put the ball up in the air, who in our defensive backfield would you say is the most opportunistic of getting after a ball and taking that shot at making a pick?
Yeah, I mean, Jelly seems to be the one that's around the ball the most. He leads us in interceptions, but all four of our secondary guys, and Cowart, based on his play last week, is putting himself back into that conversation. But all four of our guys, Gideon, Cowart, Henry, and Jelly, they all can make plays in the secondary, and we're going to need some takeaways for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is with a team like this, do you feel that there's going to have to be a defensive big play, something to keep the tide on our side? Yeah,
I mean, I do see this game potentially even being a shootout and going the distance. I think it's going to be a fun game, like you were encouraging people to come. I think it's going to be a fun game. Talented players on both sides, and cool, creative offenses. So should lead to some fun, fun plays and things like that.
Yeah. Last thing with this is obviously we're going to be looking for Gideon to make an impact.
Yeah.
This is, and you kind of feel like as he gets close to the end of his senior year, he's wanting to make that mark. How much is TJ going to have to step up and sling the ball around a little bit?
He had 3 touchdown passes against Turner Ashby last week. I mean, he just keeps getting better and better. And, it's 30 degrees outside. Yeah. Usually it's not a good passing environment or atmosphere. And he was putting the ball right on the money and continues to deliver. And I expect him to do it again on Saturday.
There's one play that, we've already talked about Turner Ashby, but just you saying that reminded me where Gideon comes across the middle and he drops that ball. Yeah. How hard of a pass is that?
Yeah.
I've watched that.
Yeah, very. And it was on a rope too. Yeah. It wasn't like a lob where Gideon ran under it. He put it right.
He was being pretty well defended at that point, and Tyler threw that ball right in the middle. Bulldog Nation, we've got a big responsibility to be out in Bulldog Stadium this week. It's during the day. It's on a Saturday. It's going to be great, and there's no college football in town, so this is going to be the place to be. I would hope that a lot of our community would come out for a great football game. If you know people that played against these seniors and it'd be really cool to see the community come out and cheer this weekend. $10, 2 p.m. You can get your tickets at GoFan. It's exciting times to be part of Bulldog Nation for sure. Anything else, Coach?
No, man. Thank you so much for what you're doing for our program and getting our message out there to the community about our program. And we're just so thankful to represent our school. This community, and hopefully we can get another one and get to the big dance.
Well, let's just plan on being back here next week.
I hope so.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on all our social media. Every game we go drive by drive through on Max Preps. Coach, I forgot to tell you, usually we have about 1,000 people that follow us on Max Preps. This last game it was about 6,000. Wow. So be that, follow us on everything and be at the game and go Dogs.